Welcome to Seize the Mains by Malhotra's IS Academy. I am Surbhi Sardana and this is Season 3 of our Daily Answer Writing Initiative. This initiative is running in coordination with our website rajisacademy.com. On our website, in the Mains Answer Writing section, you will see the list of all question and answers of Seize the Mains initiative that we have discussed till date. Without further ado, let's see what is the topic for today. It is Maritime Sector of India. It has been taken comprehensively in weekly current affairs discussion for economy by Mr. Rahul Singla on our YouTube channel today. You can check that video out later. With regards to that, a question has been framed regarding the importance and challenges of maritime sector. So why is the maritime sector important for India? Briefly discuss the challenges associated with the maritime sector of India and answer in 250 words. A very straightforward question. There are two parts to this question which are given very directly to you. You don't have to decipher what does the examiner mean by this question. So this question is very straightforward. The first part is, why is the maritime sector important for India? So you have to talk about significance or importance of maritime sector for India. We'll use some data here, we'll use some statistics, and most importantly, we'll talk about the geopolitical significance of maritime sector, because India has a huge coastline, a very long coastline. That's why, having maritime capability is very important for India when it comes to its geopolitical significance, also its security. Briefly discuss the challenges associated with the maritime sector of India. So you have to talk about the challenges or the problems that are present in the maritime sector of India. What keeps India for becoming a maritime superpower? What are the impediments that are on the way? Answer in 250 words. So let's move on to writing this question. See, we'll always start with an introduction. An introduction is a basic conversation with the examiner. In introduction, you get the chance to tell the examiner what you know about the topic. So the topic here is maritime sector. What we'll do is, since the word limit is only 250 and there are two parts to this question, the second part seems to have more weightage. So what we'll do here is that we will, in our introduction where we had to talk about maritime sector, there we'll talk about its significance too. So our introduction and our first part will be addressed in one paragraph or one part of the answer itself. So yes, let's start with the basic, that India comprises a significant size maritime sector with 12 major ports and 200 plus non-major ports situated along its 7,500 kilometer long coastline and a vast network of navigable waterways. Now I want you to look at this line number 1. What this line from here to here is entailing, what is it doing? First of all, as I told you, you need to talk about the long coastline of India. That will emphasize that why maritime sector is important for India. So you could have written a line that India has a very long coastline, around 7,500 kilometer. So that would have taken more words and it would have been a separate line, added unnecessary content. So here in this one line, we have talked about ports, we have talked about navigable waterways, and we have also talked about the long coastline in just one line itself. So in one line we are sorted. The country's maritime sector plays a crucial role. Now why here we are talking about the importance or the significance part of the maritime sector. So the country's maritime sector plays a crucial role in its overall trade and growth, with 95% of country's trade volume and 65% of its trade value being undertaken through the maritime transport. So there you have given data about the importance of maritime sector. Then in the third line, we are talking more about its importance. What is India doing in this sector? That India is one of the world's top 5 ship recycling countries and holds 30% share in the global ship recycling market. Now here you've given the brief importance or the brief significance. You've talked about the maritime sector. Now the second part should be moving towards the challenges. Before talking about the challenges, just talk about the importance of maritime sector on a geopolitical basis. So it plays a vital role in the overall economic development of a country. That is very true. And any loopholes in the maritime sector affect our economy and our geopolitical interest. This word, this term is very important, especially when we have a hostile neighbor like China with a strong maritime capability. So see, starting from the first passage, starting from this passage, in this 5 to 6 lines, till here in your introduction you have adequately talked about the importance and significance of maritime sector. Also, your last line tells that if there are any weaknesses, any problems in the maritime sector of India, then it does have geopolitical repercussions also because of the presence of China, which has a strong maritime capability. Now in the linkage point, we will move the direction of our answer towards the body paragraph. So you will have to give an introductory line that the following are the broad challenges associated with the maritime sector of India. Now talk about challenges. What can be the challenges associated with maritime sector? First of all, it could not be developed enough. Secondly, if it is developed, it might not be maintained properly. Thirdly, we could not be very much aware about the future needs of this sector. About anything, any sector, whenever you're talking, you can talk about the past development, you can talk about the present status, and thirdly, you can talk about the awareness and the future developments that comes after awareness of the future about what other countries are doing. So all these points, we have 10 points, 10 challenges here. They will be differentiated. They will talk about either the basic development that is there. Secondly, they'll talk about the maintenance of the levels of development that is there. Third one, they'll talk about that are we able enough, are we thinking enough of maritime sector as holding immense potential in the future? Are we tapping actual potential of the sector? Do we have a long term vision? So past, present, future में आप अपने challenges को या तो categorize कीजिए, या जब आप challenges के बारे में सोच रहे हैं, whenever you're thinking about challenges, talk, just segregate your mind in terms of past, present and future, and your answer would be very simple for you to approach. The first one is planned and sustainable seabed exploitation is yet to take off. So here some potential is there, but that is not being tapped. So planned and sustainable seabed exploitation is yet to take off, since there is not a very good, very formal industry there. What is prevailing is an informal sector or unsustainable extraction from marine resources. Unsustainable fishing is there, illegal fishing is there many a times, that is illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. And there is a very important term that if you want to have a strong geopolitical significance, not just a very strong navy but a very strong maritime sector is needed. The economic activities of the people living along the coastline, they have to be good enough so that they can sustain their livelihoods, and they have to be formalized. They need to be in the eyes of government, and thirdly, they need to be in consonance, running in parallel with the environmental degradation. Environment should not be harmed in carrying out these activities. The second one is physical alterations and destruction of marine and coastal habitats. So this is about the present, that what is happening, that there is physical alteration and destruction of marine and coastal habitats and landscapes due to large scale coastal development, deforestation and mining. Then the third one is unplanned and unregulated development in these sectors. It follows from the second one. So unplanned and unregulated development in the narrow coastal interface and near shore areas has led to marginalization of poor communities. So if your people in coastal areas, in the maritime in these areas, they are not happy, then you're not tapping the exact economic potential, and hence it would be very tough for your country to emerge as a superpower in this maritime domain. And then you have loss and degradation of critical habitats, whether it is with regards to plant diversity, animal diversity, or just native people staying in these areas. Then you have the marine pollution, which is there because there are a lot of industries which lead their sewage waste or other waste industrial pollutants into the sea. Then you have impacts of climate change. Yes, India has a long coastline, and if sea levels rise, then there is a problem that much of our land area along the coastline will get inundated. And not just this, we have the Andaman Nicobar and the Lakshadweep island groups also, so they also stand at the risk of sinking. there are other factors which include, here you can talk about ineffective governance institutions, inadequate economic incentives, technological advances, lack or inadequate capacities, lack of full implementation of UN clause, United Nations Convention on Law of the Sea. Not right now, but in the previous many years we have had tussle with countries like Sri Lanka because of this convention. The next one is that major ports of the country are overloaded and inefficient, due to which, though efforts by government have been taken to develop them, especially under Sagarmala project, but the turnaround time of major ports of the country, that is higher than any average port of Western nations or even of China. So that makes India unattractive to trade through this maritime routes. Then you have the dying shipbuilding industry. You need to have a strong shipbuilding industry also to prevail in the maritime sector as a superpower. Then you have inadequate merchant fleet, that India's import of crude oil, LPG, food, coal, fertilizer, whatever imports you are having, they are on foreign ships. Country's commercial security all carried on foreign owned shipped vessels for an estimated freight bill of $52 billion in value annually. So due to the dying shipbuilding industry, due to the lesser merchant fleet that India has, that comes at a huge cost. So to develop, to establish, again I'm using the same word again, if you want to have a strong hold in any of the sectors, the first thing that you need to focus on is developing adequate capacity. Second, having indigenous technology, and when it comes to maritime sector, we need to have an indigenous shipbuilding industry which has a major share in the world's shipbuilding industry. Also for the ports, development is being carried out, but that turnaround time for any ship, for any merchant vessel, that needs to be reduced. Many economic surveys have focused on this from time to time. Then you have exclusive focus of successive governments on port-led development only. That earlier the first project, that was the first Sagarmala project that was approved in around 2002 and 2003, that was about interconnectedness of major ports, development of major ports, and mostly interconnectedness of these major ports with the interior areas of the country or with the golden quadrilaterals, so that movement of goods from one place to other, and especially to these ports, becomes easier and smoother. But the subsequent versions of Sagarmala project, they focused only on port-led development, that only ports were developed, interconnectedness was not put much in focus. So a gross neglect of other critical components of India's maritime capability has occurred, and these are merchant shipping. Again, summarize the points that we've talked about: shipbuilding industry, ship repair, seabed exploration, and fisheries, etc., all of which have implications for India's maritime security as well as its blue economy. See, terms like these, blue economy, maritime security, they will fetch you extra marks in your answers if you use them. So for every sector, for example, if you're doing this answer today, write it under GS paper 3 that these are the terms that you can use. Have a separate sheet for GS paper 3 or for a separate sheet for each of these subjects, and keep noting down the terms that you can use. Have a separate sheet for data as well. For data, you can have lesser segregation because data of economy can well be used in data for IR also. But when it comes to terms like blue economy, have a separate sheet, A4 size sheet, or a register for all the subjects according to your GS paper. So for economy, you can add this word here. Now in the conclusion, see, we've given the broad challenges of maritime sector. They are not very crude challenges. These are very basic challenges of past, present and future. But in the conclusion, we have to focus upon that India needs to have a vision to develop its maritime policy. Yes, we have come up with this Maritime India Vision of 2030 that talks about development of maritime sector in the next decade till 2030. Also, we've developed our first indigenous aircraft carrier much later than China, but yes, these are small developments. These are big developments in a way that have occurred, though they have been delayed. So above all, maritime policy of India lacks a long-term vision to counter China's expansionist designs in the Indo-Pacific. So this is your final challenge here, that a long-term vision in India's maritime policy is lacking. The recent development to tackle the above challenges is your MIV 2030 that counts only for the next 10 years. It emphasizes on further boosting performance and productivity of our maritime sector to pave the way for an even better future. To strengthen our position of eminence in the global maritime sector, MIV 2030 identifies over 150 initiatives across various maritime subsectors like ports, shipping and waterways. The initiatives will add impetus to our integrated efforts toward generating seamless prospects for business and entrepreneurship and create employment opportunities on a large scale. See explanation of Maritime India Vision of 2030. This explanation, it begins from here and ends till here. Now it depends upon you if you are very well left with 50 to 70 words for the conclusion. Note this down or just summarize it in 2 lines. You do not have to write this big conclusion. The final part of your conclusion is here, that India needs a national strategy for the maritime sector for the next 50 years, and this strategy should remain immune to the change in the government that happens at the center. In the change, anytime, you know, some government comes up at the center and they approve a policy, then the second government comes up and they do not like it. So it has to be immune. The national strategy has to be immune from all those changes. For example, our 3-stage nuclear power program. All the subsequent governments, though it has been very slow, the second stage development has been very slow, but all the subsequent governments who have come up, they have allotted funds for that, and you know, development has occurred in that regard. But the same is not the case for maritime sector. So national strategy for maritime sector for next 50 years has to be there, and all governments must abide by it. A strong backing of maritime sector is required not just for the economic but from the geopolitical point of view as well. Again, we are reiterating the geopolitical importance here, which falls in line with India's aim to emerge as one of the strongest maritime power in the Indo-Pacific and beyond. Here you can write and beyond here. So this is your full answer for the day. The entire answer has been uploaded on our website rajisacademy.com. Visit our website, and also I'm reiterating it, if you're watching these videos on a regular basis and if they are helping you, just like, comment, share and subscribe to these videos, to the channel. That helps us understand your needs, that helps us to know that yes, these videos are helping you out in to be a better aspirant, to further strengthen your preparation. If you haven't joined the initiative yet and if you haven't written any answers till date, I urge you that pick up a pen and paper, read out the full answer on our website. The link to the website is present in the description. Go through the main answer writing section, read out those answers and try to write your first answer, because this practice is what will make your mind sharp for prelims, and secondly it will help you score better in mains, better than most of the aspirants sitting there, because many of the students, they sit in mains without adequate GS preparation, one. Secondly, without adequate answer writing practice, that you know keeps them in the loop or the cycle of this preparation for years and years altogether. So don't make that mistake. Share your answers with us on our website. Our team will evaluate your answers entirely free of cost and respond to your answers with their feedback in the next 48 hours. I'll see you tomorrow with another discussion of Seize the Mains at 9 PM.